Yesterday, a Trump-appointed federal judge put an end to the audacious and lawless attempt by the North Carolina Republican Party to basically straight up steal an election they lost. Republicans challenged more than 65,000 votes that were lawfully cast in the state Supreme Court race last November in an effort to erase the narrow loss by their candidate, Jefferson Griffin on the left, despite two recounts confirming Democrat Allison Riggs' victory. Well, in a 68-page ruling issued yesterday, U.S. District Judge Richard Myers ordered the state election board to certify Riggs' win, writing, "You establish the rules before the game. You don't change them after the game is done." Joining me now is North Carolina Supreme Court Associate Justice Allison Riggs. Justice, it's good to have you on. I guess the first question is, can I call you that? Is this settled or is this provisional? Because I know the federal judge ruling has stayed for 7 days. It would allow your opponent to appeal this. What is your understanding of the status of your election and your position on that state Supreme Court?
Thank you for having me, Chris. I am a justice. I have been serving on the North Carolina Supreme Court for nearly 2 years now, and I will continue to serve until my race is certified next week. Yesterday was a decisive win for voters in North Carolina and for voters across the country. My win was confirmed, and democracy was defended. We do have a period of uncertainty where my opponent can appeal, but I'm very hopeful that the thoughtful, well-reasoned decision from the federal district court yesterday, vindicating voters whose right to vote was attacked and confirming that the federal constitution prohibits changing the rules after an election, that ruling will stand.
This was, sometimes races are very close. This was a very close race. I think there were 5.5 million votes cast. Your victory margin after recounts was 734 votes, which in a statistical sense is narrow. In a sort of absolute terms is 734 more than the other person. You win the race. For the people that haven't followed this, what were Republicans up to here? And how is it taken till May to get certainty here?
So what I can tell you is that North Carolina elections statewide are always tight. This is not the smallest margin that a North Carolina Supreme Court race has been decided by. What I worry, I don't know what people's motivations are. What I worry is that we see this troubling trend of disappointed candidates and their supporters seeking to overturn election results that they don't like. And that kind of gamesmanship is antithetical to the principles of democracy that we hold dear. It is an insult to voters. In particular, voters who were attacked here were military voters serving from about 4 home counties, Democratic-leaning home counties, and military voters in the other counties weren't challenged. So this threat to North Carolina voters that we beat back yesterday presents the threat to Pennsylvania voters tomorrow and the rest of the country another day. We cannot let what happened in 2020, what happened here in 2024 keep happening again and again. And I will continue to fight until my fight is done, and then I will continue to defend and uphold the Constitution after that.
Yeah, I mean, this sort of ludicrously, to my mind, bad faith effort to toss, I think it was tens of thousands of votes from 4 heavily Democratic counties from overseas ballots that were lawfully cast according to the rules. And here's what the federal judge, again, I should say this federal judge was appointed by Donald Trump, if I'm not mistaken, in his first term, says about the effort to do that. The case concerns whether the federal constitution permits a state to alter the rules of an election after the fact and apply those changes retroactively to only a select group of voters, and in so doing, treat those voters differently than other similarly situated individuals. This case is also about whether a state may redefine its class of eligible voters, but offer no process to those who may have been misclassified as ineligible. To this, the court, the answer to each of these questions is no. How'd you feel reading those words, given how far we've come here in this audacious attempt to overturn your victory?
To me, it's reassuring that there are judges out there willing to put country and the Constitution above party and personal political ambition. We in North Carolina elect our state court judges, and I think as tough as the last 6 months have been, and they have been tough, a lesson we can take away is that North Carolina needs judges who are willing to stand up for the rights of everyone, not just the people they believe supported them. And we cannot allow this pernicious idea to take hold that we can pick and choose which elections we want to respect. The voters decide elections, not politicians, not courts. And I think we have an opportunity now here in North Carolina and across the country, wherever judges are elected, to show what it looks like to follow and respect the rule of law first and foremost. And I hope to continue doing that for a very long time on the North Carolina Supreme Court.
North Carolina Supreme Court Justice Allison Riggs, whose victory is not yet certified, but looks more and more assured after the federal judge appointment. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.